Happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Herspiration Happy Hour Season 6. Y'all, this is episode 3. Are you all ready to get started?
Yay.
Okay, well, let's get the show rolling. Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? With your host, the unapologetic diva, Dr. G, the girlfriend therapist, Dr. Cortina Lewis, the Blue Phoenix Heels, Louisa Harrell, and the networking extraordinaire, Diana Richardson Philippus. Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? This is Herspiration Happy Hour. Happy Hour.
Okay.
I don't know. Every time I hear that, I just start dancing. If you all only could see the background and stuff that's going on, we'd be in here like just. Oh, well, this is your unapologetic diva, Dr. G. Okay, Cortina Lewis or Diana or Louisa, whatever we got going on today.
This is your networking extraordinaire, Diana Richardson Philippus. We're not going to do this every season. We're not going to keep doing this. Come on, one of y'all now.
Oh, look, Cortina, you're muted, honey.
You know what?
I was talking.
Oh, Lord have mercy, Jesus.
It's Wednesday.
It's still early in the year. We're going to get it together.
Lord. I am Cortina Lewis, professionally known as Peter's therapist. I got to figure that out a better way.
Okay.
It's gonna work, girl. It's gonna work. And I have Louisa Harrell, the Blue Phoenix. Remember, at first when I switched my name over, it took me a minute to say that. So you're gonna get it right. You're gonna get it right.
I can't.
And it sounds like we need a drink. So tonight we're gonna be sipping on a mojito.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Gotta get the ingredients. Okay, so you need 10 fresh mint leaves, half a medium lime cut into 3 wedges, 2 tablespoons of sugar. I know, Pam, I know. 1 cup of ice cubes, 1.5 ounces of white rum, and 1/2 cup of club soda. Now, what you do is take the mint leaves and 1 lime and muddle it in your cup. And then you put another lime, and some sugar and muddle that. And then you fill it up with ice, pour the rum in there, and then fill the rest of the cup up with club soda. Now, for our mocktail, our lovely Dr. Lewis sent me a mocktail. So instead of adding the rum, you would do blackberry, because it'd be a blackberry mojito.
Oh.
Yes. And then you do the blackberry mojito with the lime and the mint, and you do lime juice instead of the rum. And top it off with a wedge.
I like it.
Nice.
I wish I had one right now.
So you know what, y'all, I'm telling you, this dry January has just taught me a lot about how many mocktail options there are out here, from wines to beer. I think I found like 3 or 4 different 0 alcohol beers. There's different 0 alcohol wines. I'm kind of having one right now. And even a red wine. I had a Virgin Merlot when I was at home. I'm in Alabama right now. Yeah, I'm like, although it was just like taking communion, drinking juice, but I'm just saying.
That was going to be my question. Like, what did it taste like?
It tastes like grapes. It tastes like grape juice. It tastes like grape juice, or it tastes a little bit like a sweeter Merlot than I'm normally used to drinking. But then again, I guess all of them will be that way. So I'm having a 0 alcohol. What is this? Rosé right now. But I'm just saying, all of the different alternatives is really making me feel like I can continue to go sober. So I'm doing dry January. I'm thinking of stretching it out to 90 days, despite I know that somebody on this podcast is dying for me to have some kind of, martini of sorts.
I don't care. It's me. Okay. It's me. I'm sorry to the people. Okay. I ain't trying to corrupt her or nothing, but let me tell
I'm
you.
just
Bonefish has this winter white martini.
Ooh.
Bonefish Grill.
Yes, baby.
You said what? Because this one
It's
up
a
here.
winter white martini. It has fresh cranberry. Girl, oh my mouth. Let me get her.
Is it seasonal or is
It is
it?
seasonal. It is seasonal.
Do they have
Only
it
during
right
the
now?
winter time.
Okay, it's winter.
It's
Not
only
really,
that's
but it's
when
winter.
hence winter. Yeah, it's delicious. And I said Pam because she's supposed to be, coming to Atlanta, but
Yeah.
whatever. Whatever. She ain't made, but whatever.
Well, I didn't make it this week. I was painting. So I didn't, a lot of my week was just gone because I'm here painting rooms in my mom's house. So yes, y'all, I paint also. Um, so it's taken days for me to complete what I thought would kind of be a 1 day job, which was supposed to be a one room, which turned into a room and a bathroom and multiple coats. And so, yeah.
She been working, y'all. She been
I've been
working.
working. Look, first of all, it's when I say I've not had a chance to like work out, don't need to. If you really want to work out, child, paint.
Yeah.
I've been waking up feeling like I've been hit by 8 buses. Like
Mm.
I'm rolling out of bed, like, oh my God, I had to take Tylenol the first day because my back, I don't know what I did to my back. But yeah, it was a lot from taping stuff down because you have to prep before you paint walls and all of that stuff. So it was prepping and then it was painting and then cleanup. And so I still have the bathroom ceiling left. That's it. So it's been a week. So I didn't get a chance to make it to Atlanta. But even if I did, I have not broke my dry January at all.
You
And I'm
don't
proud
need
of
to.
me.
You can get a
I'm not.
mocktail version. They just won't put no vodka in there. I'll tell them to give me your vodka in an extra cup, and then I'll make mine extra strong, and you can just have the cranberries and the juices.
All you have to do is just get the recipe. So maybe in 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days, then we could just make it at your house when we come for St. Patty's Day weekend or something.
Well, it ain't St. Patty's Day weekend. That is my women's empowerment conference weekend. But no,
If I show up early, like I normally do,
I'm gonna be.
you can.
It's just not the same when you don't go to the bar at the restaurant.
Oh goodness.
I'm one of them. Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. We keep a fully stocked bar over here, but I'm not really that awesome at specialty drinks. Unless
Oh, I am. I'm like a straight up bartender. I can mix all kind of drinks. I'm that creative kind too. Like when I do my martinis, they're decorative. Like I'll do apple martinis and there's a slice of apple on top. There's strawberry martinis and there's like a strawberry sitting on the side. Sometimes, I do my lemon drop martinis and I have real lemon, on there.
you making me want to drink. I mean, I may as well be having a dry January because I had a beer last week, I think, on this podcast. And that's it. But I don't drink like that anyway. I mean, I don't drink like that. But I do like one when I want it. And Pam, I still haven't gotten my winter white Cosmo.
I know. Well,
The mister won't take me, so there's that.
Well, we know you're not going to drive yourself, really,
Ooh.
unless you leave the house. Anyhow,
I feel like shots fired. I can drive it if it ain't on the highway. Don't do y'all. Commercial.
Now, as we take this quick break,
I know, right? So Cortina, you're looking a little bit different.
Yes. So I've been thinking about cutting my hair off for like a really long time now. I had my plan was to cut my hair after I got married. So I just kept fidgeting, and then the new husband was like, "Oh, I don't know how I feel about you cutting your hair." I'm like, "It's hair; it'll grow back, whatever. I don't care." So I just kept it, still doing my little, how it's long and purple at the top. And then I was like, you know what? I've always wanted locks. So the first time I went through chemotherapy and my hair started to grow back, I was going to do locks. But then I was like, I don't know. I wasn't too ready, I don't think. And so my friend, who is an NFL loctician, she was here visiting me. She came up this weekend. And we was all just messing around or whatever. And I was like, you know what you doing right now? I think we're gonna lock. I think I want to lock my hair. She was like right now? Yeah. Like, yeah, let's do
Lock
it.
it up. Lock
It
it up.
would be you.
She always carry her stuff with her, and so as you can see, as I come closer, so this is the beginning stages, and so now we have to wait for it to swell because they're very thin when you first start. So my husband, who has locks himself, he's growing his, he was like, I think you need to unlock.
No.
Why?
He said, I don't know how I feel. He said, I don't know if it fits you. I said, oh, honey, this is my journey. Okay. This is me and my journey. And it felt cathartic and like, I can't really explain it, but every day I feel like I get a little bit more comfortable with it. Now, the thing was, like, I have these speaking events that are coming up. For example, I have one Friday, day after tomorrow. I have a sex panel that I'm doing the weekend after, the women empowerment. So I have like all these visual in-person things coming up, and this is not how they expect to see me. They expect to see like the Afro punk hair and everything like that. I'm still purple, but I was like, okay, I hope it's a little bit more fuller by then. But
wig on.
Well, first of all, they want you to speak for your expertise.
Oh, I'm talking about for me, with as far as like what I'm looking for, the look that I'm going for.
I like it.
So, yeah, I like it too. I think even with the purple, it gives it a little something different. And
it has to grow on me. It has to grow on me.
I want my hair locked up
unsure. And I was like, well, as long as I keep the sides going together and then, my haircuts and everything. But as it gets longer and as they get more frizzy and more lock-ish, I said it's going to take about 3 to 6 months to start locking. But in order for it to like really be fully, it could take like 18 months.
Yeah, it depends on the texture of your hair too.
That'll go by fast.
Started her lock journey over a year ago.
So she's not gonna say it, but I'm gonna have to shout out my Scorpio friend or person, because she was a bridesmaid, if that's who you're talking about, that locked your hair.
Oh, yes.
My Scorpio mate. Okay. Let me give a shout out to Jerry, because her locks are absolutely gorgeous. Like gorgeous.
And she has
shout out to Jerry.
Yeah, she has 26 NFL contracts. So she's contracted.
I know that's right.
Come on, Jerry. I didn't know you better
come on now, girl.
We gotta have her on. She's like so super dope and so super cool. We had such a turn up. I mean, the whole damn wedding party was a turn up though. Huh?
Her mother passed away last week, so keep her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
When
you told me, I was definitely sending prayers as somebody whose dad had a stroke last year and has gone through things, and I'm a daddy's girl, so I completely understand that significant of a loss. Because that's rough.
The day that her father passed away made 18 months since her husband had passed away.
Yeah.
They both passed away on the 11th. And so it was difficult for her. Her husband,
she's still mourning her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like the two, and she had 7 brothers. She's the only girl. She was a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
So it was.
Can you imagine?
Tough. Yeah. So she came up. We visited. Because sometimes you got to get away from all of that, and I just made her stay longer than probably she wanted to. But Pam, remember what they said at the wedding? My house is the community house. Everybody come here. It doesn't even matter. Like, you want to come? Come on, child. Come visit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Speaking of,
I saw your tag.
You saw my tag. So let me tell y'all. So so this past November, I did a speaking at a conference, at a student leadership conference in Orlando. I accepted that. And I guess if you're from Florida or know about classics and all of that stuff, I had no idea. But it was so much stuff going on in our hotel. The band was staying there. All of this stuff was going on. Cortina was like, well, it's the Florida Classic. I was like, okay. I had no idea that that's what a classic was. Like, she was like, well, we're going to go tailgating. And I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go tailgate. That's not tailgating. Let me just say that. And I think I said that before.
Yeah.
What I encountered was not tailgating. I had so much fun. And I told her, I said, oh, I'll be back next year. Lo and behold, I got invited out to speak again at the Student Leadership Conference the same weekend as the classics. I'll be there.
Y'all should go too.
Yeah. Oh my
Diana
God.
and Louisa.
Yeah, I was.
Oh my gosh.
I always had wanted to come to the classics. So
I've been to classics before. I haven't been in a
Florida
very,
Classic.
very, very long time.
I
very long time.
so enjoy. And you know what? I am hell bent on. I'm gonna have to find me a tray of sorts and just kind of makeshift something I can wrap around my waist, or or a stool that I can just carry with me and pop out and sit down and eat.
Girl, you seen the
Just
thing you
walking
sent
and
it
eating.
on Instagram where you can carry the seat and then you just pop it out and
Yeah,
sit.
but I need a table. I need
Yeah,
a
you're gonna need a
table or
table.
something, because yeah.
It's food
I
everywhere.
was out there. It was I'm going hungry next time. See, I don't think I was as hungry because I didn't know what to expect. Although I did not get my candy apple, but I did end up getting a candy apple.
I remember that.
And it just dawned on me. It just dawned on me when I was in Savannah. I bought 2 candy apples, and I believe I only ate one. I'm missing a whole. I'm gonna have to call my sister and tell her who ate my candy apple, because I be in feelings about no candy. It's not the point. Absolutely not the point. I just want to know. I don't know who ate
that apple, girl. It's gone.
Anyhow, okay, but so I know. Well, you know what? First of all, I had the hankering for a candy apple from the time that I was at the Florida Classic that we didn't get it. I also would know to dress more appropriately for the Florida Classic, because for some reason I don't think of Orlando area getting that cold. It got super, super cold. We was out there drinking hot chocolate, but there was oh my gosh. There's so many vendors out there, and just food and food on top of food. There's seafood, there's Caribbean food, there's Haitian food, there's African food, there's oh my gosh, y'all. Yeah, okay. I'm snapping back. Okay. Anyhow, so we can talk about our conversation today, which kind of segues, because one of my things that I do in my business is be a speaker. But we want to talk about the realness that comes with being an entrepreneur. So if you are someone who is in business, want a business, pretending to be a business, some of y'all be out here pretending.
Not pretending. Oh my God.
Pretending, yeah, because it's a hobby, but you're like, every week you're doing something new. That's not a business. So, ladies, I think one of the things that come with being an entrepreneur is that people think that it is so easy. They see what's online posted, making entrepreneurs or business look easy. So, Diana, I'll definitely start with you. When you decided to step away from your corporate America job, what was that moment for you that you realized, like, oh shit, maybe I should hop back out of this? Have you ever felt like that?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword. I can't say wholeheartedly that I've ever felt since that day that, I need to go back to corporate America. When I decided to take that leap, it was very deliberate and intentional.
I'm not saying you would go back. I'm just saying, you ever just feel like, damn, what, one of those.
I mean, do I miss corporate money?
Oh,
as regular money? Yeah, there's times that I miss that, because it's a certain stability, so we think. But it's really not stability either. And I think that's a roadblock for some people, because, they say, oh, this check, I know I'm going to get this check, but actually you don't, because they could fire you at any given time with no remorse. But going back to your question, what was it again? You said, what was
like that surprise moment that you realized, like, it's more than what you expected it to be?
In terms of entrepreneurship?
In terms of going into your own business?
I don't think that I can't say that I agree. I didn't have that moment. Let me just start there. I knew
Okay.
that it was a lot of work because I was doing dual jobs. I was working my corporate America job and I was doing my businesses on the side. So I literally did not sleep. Now, what I can tell you is I did think once I stepped out of corporate America that I would have a little bit more free time to work on the business and I would be less stressed.
Not.
No, that's not true. When you step out,
Yeah.
now I work, and Pam, you know this, I work
Yeah.
all day, all night. I can barely sleep. I'll fall asleep for a second and then wake up and then start thinking about, listen, you just don't sleep. But I will say, at least I don't sleep. I mean, I'm sure there's some entrepreneurs in the world that do sleep. I don't really sleep like that, especially when I have a lot of different, with me, it depends. My cosmetic line, that's one thing, that runs itself, so to speak, but my Empowered Women Empower with my pop-up expos and my events and my conferences, that's something completely different. That takes a lot of manpower on my behalf and a lot goes into it. And when I'm packing out the schedule, I don't sleep because I got a lot going on. So to answer your question, yeah, it's a lot.
So I'm going to say the reason why I asked that, because for me, I was like you, although I worked for the federal government and then I had my own companies. And what I did realize when I did step out, working 0.25% of your time looks very different in terms of how your business has to be set up when you move to work 100% of the time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when I first stepped out, it was like, oh gosh, now I have to look at all of my systems and change and switch all of my systems, because at first I couldn't support that workload. So my systems weren't made for volume. And then I had to switch everything up. So it was changing, updating websites and updating services and systems and putting all of these different things in place so that way I can now get to a place where I can monetize. So the first year that I stepped out, it was like dropping money into almost similar to rebranding, but not, it's just re-strategizing my systems. And I didn't realize that was going to have to happen. I just thought, oh, I'll just kind of go. But then it was like, oh, rude awakening. Can't work utilizing these systems. And so it was like researching these systems, which one is going to be best. It was so much going into it that I felt like I was feeling guilty that if I slept in, even though I was on 3 hours of sleep. I had to learn how to give myself grace during that time. So Cortina, what about you? You've transitioned 1,000 different times. You done changed offices twice and then opened your own center. So in all of those things, what do you feel like were some big learning lessons for you in that process?
So I've always kind of been like a busybody, always doing like 100 things at once. So when I was in corporate America, when I was a clinical director, I was always running like large inpatient facilities. So I was on call 24 hours because if something happened 3:00 in the morning, clinically, patient died, we had that happen. You got to get up out of your bed and go to the center to make sure everything was okay. So I was always used to being on go at any moment's notice. I even had a friend, she was a professional colleague. She said, I will never go to lunch with you again. I said, what do you mean? She was like, it's like you have PTSD from your phone. Every ding ring, I was like, hold on, let me check this email. Okay, let me send this email. Let me send. It was always on. And so when I transitioned from there to my own business, although I have more time where I'm not hands-on seeing patients, I'm doing more stuff. And just a few hours ago, Dee wanted me to, he was like, okay, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, no, I see patients all day. And he said, okay, Friday. I said, I got a speaking event, then I have a call that I have to do. And he was like, okay, Saturday. I said, Saturday, I'm volunteering at Morgan School all day for the debate competition. He said, okay, Sunday. I said, oh, I got a facial on. So like, he was like, do you ever say no? Like, and I was just standing there like,
no.
Not that I don't say no, but it was like a real moment, like, damn, I always have something going on. Like there is always something that I'm committed to or that I'm doing or that has to be done. He was like, you just don't sit down. Like you just don't rest. You just don't stop. Is there ever a day that you just gonna be home and not do anything?
Girl, that's a whole nother conversation that we might need to have with these husbands, because the mister over here says the same thing. Like it's almost sometimes a little like contention with it, because he's always like, are you still working? Or it'll be Sunday, are you working? And he'll be like, and I'm like, or he like, what are you doing? Well, I got a call at 12 and then I got another at 3. Then I'm gonna try to go get dinner started. And then I got to answer these emails. And he's looking at me like, so when
I got a text that he was like, how much longer? I was like, oh, okay, I got 5 more notes to type. Because this is the thing. If I don't do my notes, they're going to get behind. And so even though I have my own business, I'm not answering to anybody. I answer to myself.
That's right.
When you're running a business, you want to make sure that you don't get behind, that you stay on top of stuff, because then you're going to feel like you under a sinking ship and everything going to get backed up. And it's going to be like, oh my God.
I thought it was just me. I thought it was just me. Thank you, Lord.
I like to get my stuff done, because if I wait to the end of the week to do my notes, one, I don't think nobody, no matter what field you in, like to do paperwork. Police officers, well, Pam, you like to write because you're a writer. Wow. But it's doing the paperwork that you have to, the necessary stuff to protect your license, your field, your craft, whatever it is that is for. And if I save 25 notes for a Sunday, I'm going to spend all day, because I have ADHD and I cannot focus. That is one of my biggest issues. My ability to focus. I can start typing the email. I won't send the email because in my mind, something else will jump. And I'm like, oh, let me look this up real quick. Oh, let me pay this bill. Oh, let me send this. Oh, let me go work on my presentation a little bit. Come back to the email.
And it be in draft, and you thought you sent it. Like, oh, wait, what's this? What is this in draft?
I've been writing. So as we look at me shifting to entrepreneurship, it's when I was in corporate America, I ain't have to worry about payroll. I ain't have to worry about doing all of the operational stuff. Paying the bills, making sure, like calling. I don't take insurance, but the people who work for me take insurance. Making sure that everything is okay. Arranging my schedule, because everything was like at the office. Like people calling in sick. I had to deal with people calling in sick, but it didn't take away from me per se. I ain't on that company. If it don't get done, that's on them. However, when it's yours, and you have your hands in multiple things, it can get overwhelming sometimes. And finding the balance to say, finding the balance to know when it's time to add another person to help you to navigate.
Yeah.
And when to be able to relinquish some of the things that you're doing that might not be necessary for you to do. So navigating through your operating procedure so that you can see, am I doing this in the most effective way that I could do it? So that's the biggest learning curve. And I'm still on the curve, because I'm so anal about the way things are. And there are 100 ways to do the same thing. You're doing it different, but you're going to get the same result. But for me, it's like, I need somebody with my same brain who thinks like me to execute what I need for them to execute. That's impossible. So me still learning how to relinquish my hand off of everything as it relates to me running my business. That's the biggest learning lesson that I'm trying to still navigate and work through.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I know that one. Louisa, what about you? I know you got films and recordings and all kind of stuff going on personally. So how are you, what do you feel like was that learning curve for you, or that aha moment that you realize like, oh, this is going to be more work than I thought? Louisa?
I don't think she's there.
Okay, well, I'll come back to her. I know one of the things for me also was, like Cortina said, is finding good help. I think that's one of the hardships, is finding good help as a business owner. That I have a specialty, and not everybody can write, not everybody can edit. And Lord knows, I mean, I have some really great writers on my team, and then other times it's like, oh Lord have mercy, I'm gonna have to find some more writers. And so that's the hardship that I kind of come through. So it's hard to relinquish things, because at the end of the day, if I feel like if I got to do it, I may as well not even have you. And I have actually gone through several different assistants for that reason, is because I do a lot. I'm doing, I'm all over the place. I'm managing different companies, and my schedule by itself, it can be crazy. I've had one good assistant, and even assistants are kind of expensive now.
Yeah.
Inflation has, yeah. So what you bring in has to be able to afford
Right.
staffing. Yeah,
right.
whether it's part-time, once a week, twice a week. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But then there's essential roles like accounting, legal people that you really, really need to pay first. So you're kind of left, multitasking in a business. But you still have to understand where you can let go of some things. Like me, all my social media, I'm like, I got to get a social media team. Can't even do it. Speaking of, Diana, I owe you.
Thank you. And y'all excuse me as I'm sitting here yawning, which I never do. And that came out of the blue. I'm tired, y'all. I'm not even going to lie to y'all today.
I mean, that's real life. That's the life of an entrepreneur. You're going to be tired. And sometimes we have to work through those feelings, those emotions, that exhaustion. And that's precisely what we're talking about today. Entrepreneurship is great on the picture side of it. Like when you're seeing like all the accolades, when you're seeing like, oh my God, they're going here, they got this award, they're doing this, they just opened this center, this conference, this. It looks great in the pictures.
Sure do.
But the background work and the back of the picture that you don't see is the late nights, the exhaustions, the possible tensions in relationships because you have to be gone, or you don't necessarily have the time to juggle, or having to miss a kid's what do you call that thing, like activities or something like that, or pushing through when you really sick. You like, okay, I can't afford to take 2 weeks off, but I have to take these good 5 days off because I have to make sure that I get this done, because going for 2 weeks, oh my God, can you imagine coming back to all the emails and stuff that you did not get? It might be, sometimes, not all the time, because we still got to take a break. You might have to see a patient when you on vacation. You might have to answer a call, because if you're trying to speak for, let's just say, Pam, a big organization, CNN wants to interview you. What you gonna say? Okay, no, I can't do it that week. Can you do it this week?
Right. It's like, no, I'm gonna tap in. What time I need to be there?
Exactly. And you make arrangements, you juggle things, because if the entity is bigger than you, more than likely you have to work on their schedule.
Yeah.
Or, oh, we have this award show. Oh, okay, I can't interview them on the red carpet this day. What about this? No, that don't work. So you have to be able to even be flexible as a business owner, an entrepreneur, especially when you're doing multiple businesses. And I think most of us up here are doing multiple things. And it's balancing it.
Let me tell you something. This week, I've been in so many meetings. I'm like, it's a blessing. Don't get me wrong. I don't never ever want to sound ungrateful for a thing, because I know that nothing happens by chance, but only by God. But I can't think. I'm like, wait a minute, what time? And I'm so scared I'm gonna miss one, because they be like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, okay,
I can't lie. I'm so glad I'm a writer. Because my job does not require me to speak to a lot of people. Because if I spoke with people all day long, I would never get any writing done. So I need to be able to step away and do things like today. Um, just like within 30 minutes, I think I wrote like 4 blogs.
Yes.
If I'm not distracted and I'm not doing anything, I can knock stuff out. That's when I say I write right. So my days is not in front of a computer, in front of a phone. I might take client calls, but I also don't take client calls on Mondays and Fridays. I don't work weekends unless I absolutely have to. I had to learn how to put balances in place because I went 14 years working around the clock and I didn't like the way that felt. And I felt like it burned me out. And that first year that I was out, I was still working that way. And I had giving myself grace for being tired. You should never have to give yourself grace for being tired. And I said last year, I can't operate like this. One, I'm getting older. My body's not acting, it's not responding the same way. And I need to put in more boundaries and self-care time. So I don't mind working 10 or 12-hour days, but I allow Jay to be my cutoff because I'll keep working. I will keep working. So when he gets home, sometimes it's 7, sometimes 8 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, that's my time to call it quits. Especially Tuesday through Thursdays, because sometimes I can be up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Like when I got here, I worked until about 4 o'clock in the morning and then was up at 8.
Yeah.
And I don't like working like that. I don't think it's healthy. And I think we need to shift that mindset that that's what's going to make us wealthy. Because it's not. And if it does make you wealthy, are you going to be in good enough health to be able to spend it and not on medical bills?
I want to counter that, Pam.
So that sometimes,
I want to counter that.
Come on, bring it.
I do believe that having self-care is important. You are 100%. But I don't want people to step into entrepreneurship thinking that, well, I can just handle it like an 8-hour-a-day job.
I didn't say 8 hours. I said 10 or 12 hours.
When you're building that foundation, you got to lay the foundation. And I would never advise anyone to work like me. I'm not going to tell. Don't do it. Because but you got to work hard. And I think, like, to your point, when you were saying, like, some of these people that say they got a business but they doing, this, that, and the third. And even sometimes some of the people that I have come into contact with myself, that you say you want a business or you have an idea or you have, kind of a business, but you're not feeding it. You have to feed your business. You have to put in that time. You really do. There's no easy way around it.
There's not no easy way around it, but it depends on the business that you are running, because it is completely fine. And people can have an 8-hour day if your 8 hours are productive. 8 productive hours is better than sitting around for 12 or 13 hours and then you don't get nothing done. So, and then you're saying, well, I work 13 hours, I work 14 hours, but what was the end result of that? If it's nothing, if it's not going to benefit, if it's not going to make you money, then what is it all for? So to me, you can effectively work an 8-hour day. As a writer, sometimes all I want to do is 5 hours, because depending on the complexity of my project, I'm a creative. If I don't step away, I lose it. And then that's what creates blocks. It's because we feel like we got to sit here and sit here and sit here. I'm not writing fluff. I'm very intentional about what I write. So for me and what I do, sometimes 8 hours is enough. Sometimes 12 hours. If I'm feeling creative, hell, I might be up till 4 o'clock in the morning writing. As an author, I'm the same way. Sometimes I'm writing my books and I might put it down for a year or two. I have those ADHD moments and I move to the next book.
Right.
But I want to say that we need to normalize putting healthier boundaries in place no matter what we do, whether we work out in corporate America, whether we're entrepreneurs. That work until you're dead, or that sleep until I'm going to sleep when I'm dead mentality, it's not healthy. Then we wonder why people burn out faster, why they're feeling suicidal, why there's no outlet, why they overcompensate working rather than take care of themselves. I've been there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been there where I've overcompensated with work so I didn't have to deal with me. And that's not a healthy place to be at. So all I'm saying is that you choose to keep working and working and working. If you instill boundaries of when you're going to take phone calls, unless that person is like hella important, to me, I feel like if you look at, if you look at most celebrities and big major entrepreneurs, they dress down, they're going to have their time. They have their time with their family. They vacation with their families because they had to learn boundaries and balance. I had an SES tell me one time that the one thing he regretted, and that's a senior executive service for the federal government, that's upper echelons, beyond a GS-15, that's what you have to go into. And he told me the one thing he regretted out of working hard is not actually taking care of himself and not spending time with his family. So for me, I put family first. I put me first. I put a lot of things before. Work is important to me, but it's not the most important anymore. Too many things are happening. And as I'm getting older, I'm looking at life differently. I'm not out here needing Louis Vuittons and red bottoms and all this other stuff. I just want to be comfortable. I want to spend my money and travel. I want to be happy. And it doesn't take me working 16-hour days, 7 days a week, where I'm not getting that kind of time. So it's good for some people. It's just no longer good for me because I'm already all over the damn place enough.
Look, I feel you. But
it is work.
I love a good red bottom myself. But what do you do? And this can be for you or Cortina, because I hear you. I really do hear you. And you know me, how I get down with my work. But what if your passion, it isn't like I'm working like, oh God, I gotta do this. It's passion based. It's like I want to. I will wake up sometimes. I lied to y'all. Now I think I was just telling you, Pam, like at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, wanting a cup of coffee to get to work. I want to go to work because my brain is like, I just want to go do it. Do it.
Guess what? That and it's so funny you just said that. I just put in there. It doesn't even matter if it's your passion.
Yeah.
Even the burning flames of passion can be extinguished.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to know that I love doing therapy. Like, y'all see how I get all passionate. I can be super sleepy, super tired, but once I start talking to my patients, whatever the hell else I got going on, I'm like lasered in, locked in.
Right.
But if you keep going on that, at some point, you may become disconnected or disenchanted with what your passion and purpose is. And that's where we feel like, you know what, maybe I'm supposed to be doing something else because I done ran it in the ground so much that it hasn't become fun anymore. That's almost like people who get into volunteering and going to homeless shelters all the time, right? I love it. I do it. Sometimes those individuals, they can experience compassion fatigue. You've heard so many sad stories, and then it just becomes heavy. It was a passion. Now it has become very heavy because of my overexposure to it. So we have to be mindful of what we are overexposing ourselves to, so we don't end up where our passion has become our pain. We don't want that. We don't want to turn into that. And so, like I would say, like, I have to know when, okay. And adding variety to what you do keeps it fun. So all of us on here do multiple things. Pam does more than right. She also interviews, we podcast. All of us up here do multiple things. So it's not like day in and day out, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. Even if you have a football player, who is passionate about football. That's their passion. That's their purpose. Maybe they played. However, they can't play forever. So when I retire or when I'm done, I might coach a team. I might be a newscaster or a sportscaster. I might do something that keeps me connected to my purpose, but it is not as physical as me actually being out there on the field. So I think it's important to stay connected to your passion and to your purpose, but also know, okay, is there a different way I can incorporate my passion purpose into my life where I can be elevated? I can find balance. I can not allow my the flame of passion to be extinguished.
Absolutely. Well, thank God for burning passions. And I'm still working on my balance. I mean, a couple weeks in January, calendars, you got to
I had to learn it though. I had to learn to get to this place and not work around the clock. There were plenty of days where I would work consistently till 4 a.m. and be up at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 6 a.m, depending on what I have going on. But remember, Diana, the one thing that I have put in place, now I'm getting up and I'm pouring more into me as a learning curve. I get up in the morning and I'll work out. I have like an hour of self development built in my calendar, because I'm a visual person. If it's in my calendar, guess what? God damn it, I got to do it. So I put it in my calendar for me to work out, for me to do reading. It's sad that you got to do that, but I mean, literally, I have to find time to do those things. And so I'm reading books and I'm reading things that's helping me grow, not just, mostly business stuff, because that was my goal, and to help me be a better speaker, to help me be better in business and scale. Just different things.
That book is great, by the way.
I told you. So, Louisa, I posed a question, but you weren't available at the time. So you had, you do a lot. You do it, film and all of these other things. What did you, stepping out to be, to do entrepreneurship and everything that you're doing, what do you feel like you learned the most from that you could share?
Patience.
Oh, shit, you a lot of that.
And I'm a very patient person. I'm a very patient person. But doing things for yourself or doing things when you don't have a covering or you have to answer to somebody, you have to have a lot of patience. You also have to be persistent. And it takes a lot of forgiveness, because you think when something doesn't go right, that it's your fault, or that you fail. Oh my God, maybe I should, like Cotina said, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So you have to take the time, just step back sometimes, redo, because failing does not mean that it's wrong. Failing does not mean that you should stop. Sometimes you just need to redo. And I learned a lot of that. I'm learning a lot of that on this process. I also, learn to just be positive, even when it doesn't look like it, even when it looks like everything's going left, around the corner, down the hill, and in the river. You got to look forward and be like, you know what? I know it's not going right, but I know for a fact that it's going to be better. I can see great things coming. I can see, I know it's going to happen. I just got to figure out what to do. So that's what I learned. And also, I know that you can get distracted doing what you love to do, and something may pull you because it may look familiar or look similar to what you're trying to do, and that could be a distraction from what you really want to do. So you have to pay attention, because there's nothing wrong with being swayed a little bit, but if you feel it coming away from what you really want to do, what you feel passionate about, or what you know for a fact that you should be doing, just be mindful and come back.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And I tell you, discipline. Godspeed. You have to be disciplined in business, because I always say, people's like, oh, you work for yourself. I absolutely do not. I own my own companies, but I absolutely don't work for myself. I work for everybody that pays for services from me. I'm like, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have a business. So for me, I have to wake up for them. I'm accountable to them, because I want to be a good service provider and provide great customer service in terms of the output of what I do. I work for everybody who who utilizes my services. Cortina does too. Diana does too. You do as well. And when you look at big major corporations aren't made because they just operate. They're made by the people who operate them.
That's right.
And it's the clients that bring, in order to pay them, it's the clients that have to make sure that those people get paid. So,
well, entrepreneurs should know, and it's a godly thing as well. When you have the mindset that you are here to serve, yes, these are our businesses, but I'm here to serve, and I do it happily, even though I get tired sometimes.
That's a big.
I'm in the business of serving. You understand? I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. Mm-hmm. So it's very important. And Pam, you're 100% right. We work for our base.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hard.
Yeah, there's a price tag, and what I've had to learn was investing in myself. If you're an entrepreneur, if you can't do it all, but you also have to invest in your company, which is investing in you, because you can't do it all. Look for someone that's going to help you out, that's going to help you grow. Don't just be out here willy-nilly and just to be cheap, because cheap costs more.
I'm telling you.
Cheap costs a lot more money. Because I've worked with companies, because one of the things, I'm a technical writer, so I write business plans. And a lot of people come to me after they've already been in business, because now they want business grants or business loans, and they have to have a business plan. And when I'm looking this over and I'm thinking, this is, what are you even doing? You wouldn't even qualify. And I've sat on grant panels. So it was like, you wouldn't even qualify because you don't even have half the setup that you need. So that foundation is really what's going to matter, which is why they say most companies don't last the first 5 years, that they fail. And here's the other thing that I learned. So they always say it takes about 5 years before you see your real return on investment, right? I think people need to look at, especially depending on what you're doing, if you're a service provider, especially, that's, to me, if you're working 100% for yourself. Because I worked 25% and then I had to revamp. So even though my company is 5 years old and yes, it's thriving, I feel like now that I've made all these shifts for the last 2 years, that my company is making more and more, generating more revenue now than it did before. And so I feel like at my 5 years of me being 100% an entrepreneur, it's going to look very different than the 5 years that I was at, because 3 of those years, I was not even really working for myself. It was when I had time. It was at my own leisure. It was if I wanted a client once a month. So it looks very different. So even though I celebrated 5 years, that 5 years really, to me, didn't start until I left the government. Now I feel like that timer is started, and I'm now 2 years, I'm 2 years in, going into my third year. So November will be 3 years since I left the government. So now, but I did not realize that. I had that aha moment. So I want people to understand that your return on investment, if you're not working 100% for yourself, you're not really going to see it until you can truly dedicate your time to operating your business or your company or whatever it is that you're choosing to do.
Well, they say
those 3 years went by so fast, Pam.
Huh?
That almost 3 years went by so fast. And I remember when you told us, it just seems like yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy. And on top of the fact, that's true about the fact that if you aren't able to put that time in, it makes a difference. I can tell the difference now because I'm not working the job I used to work with duty calls, and since I'm not doing that and I'm home with the kids and doing other things, I can tell the difference. I'm able to think like freely. I'm able to focus not only on what I want to do or what I'm doing, but more so on my children, more so of it's just you have that freedom to pour into what you want to do, into your business, into your life, into your family, you have that time. And it has now come to a place with me. I've actually focusing more on the Blue Phoenix side of things. Don't grin like that, Pam, because you've been looking at me. We had a conversation, but I've, it's something I'm getting ready to do. Once I've got it straight, I'll let y'all know. But I'm putting more energy and time into the Blue Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And I had put her to the side, put the Blue Phoenix to the side for a little while. Though I was been posting, though I've been doing other things with filming and directing and stuff and acting. The Blue Phoenix needs to come out. It's things that I need to do with the Blue Phoenix Hills. And actually, the first part of that is March 18th. I have a date. I actually have my calendar set for the entire year. It's going to be a quarterly event. And I'll tell you guys after I get off, because I don't want to put it out there, then I don't have the space for everybody who wants to come. So I'll tell you.
Okay.
So that is important to have that time to put in your business, and you'll see a difference.
Okay. So, ladies, it's at the top of the hour. I know, Louisa, you have to go first. So tell everybody how they can connect with you. Oh, you don't have to?
Not tonight, but I'll go.
Okay.
You guys can reach me at the Blue Phoenix Hills everywhere. Every other Wednesday, with at both sides of the coin at 8:00. So it will be next week and not this week. And also every Thursday at 8:30 on the No Filter Show.
All right, Miss Diana.
Yes, you can.
And share what you have going on too.
Oh, okay. Well, absolutely. In celebration of Women's Month, how I do every March, Empowered Women Empower, we are having our annual Women in Business Networking Conference, March 18th, at the downtown Sheraton Atlanta Hotel. It's going to be a packed out event, and we have Beverly Johnson, the trailblazing supermodel, headlining this year. Yes, get into it, y'all. Them tickets on sale. You better get your early bird tickets. Get your early bird tickets. We also have the wonderful Dr. Pamela Gurley as one of our powerhouse speakers. And not to mention the one and only Dr. Cortina Lewis, Peter Lewis. Which one? I don't know. Dr. Peters Lewis. We're gonna be there giving y'all everything y'all need. And more, okay? And more. Y'all better get y'all early bird tickets.
Get them tickets, y'all. Get the tickets.
Diana Richardson Philippus on Instagram, Empowered Women Empower on Instagram as well, and EWE Inspires on Facebook.
Hey. All right, Dr. Lewis, Dr. Cortina Peters Lewis, Dr. Lewis, Dr. Peters, whichever one you choose to be today.
Well, I have a keynote speaking event this Friday coming up called Passion Ignited, and it's a motivational talk directed towards therapists on how they keep their passion ignited and going so they don't get burnt out in the field.
Yes.
And this conversation that we had, just aligned with everything. So I have that. I also have Therapist Night Out. March 25th, I will be speaking in Jacksonville. And so I'm on a sex panel, and we're going to be talking about everything sex.
Yes.
From good sex to bad sex to no sex to sometimes sex to other people's sex. Everything sex. So those are the things that I have coming up. Yeah.
Okay, well, you are busy. Look here, you are busy. So I have a few things going on. I have my kids' red carpet that starts in May. Tickets will be available sometime in February. It would be kicking off in Jackson, Mississippi, as well, and then May, and then in June it will be in Memphis, Tennessee. In July will be in Savannah, Georgia, and then it will be right here in Huntsville, Alabama in August. I am also I'll be dropping some news really, really soon about another kids' red carpet that will be international. So yes, and so I'm working all of that out now. I have several different speaking things. Thankfully, not many coming up outside of the Women in Business Conference for Diana. And I am in TEDx training, y'all. This shit is hard. Because I have my own solo TEDx October 14th this year in South Africa. And so I'm I know I'm super excited about that, but I am just taking things in stride because now I'm I like being busy, but I have to manage my busy because I'm also wedding planning.
Yep.
That part. Get into
That has been a whole chore all by its damn self, stressing me all the way out. Not necessarily in a bad way, but just it's just a lot. It's definitely interrupting different things that I want to do because I have my whole little wedding book right here beside me. I'm like taking notes and trying to get stuff together, but I'm super excited about it. But you can follow me on all social media platforms at IAMDRPGURLEY. I am Dr. P. Gurley. Also at the BGBB Kids Red Carpet on Instagram and on all social media at Brown Girl and Brown Boy series. Ladies, it has been such a great conversation, and it's one that's definitely needed because their entrepreneurship, despite what it looks like online, and despite what celebrities make it look like, it's a lot of work and it's extremely hard. And a lot of work to come into it. Next week, we have our guest first guest for this year, Kimberly Lawson, will be on the show next week. We're going to be happily having her. And then, y'all go support, Diana and her, and her things, Dr. Lewis and her things. And then, of course, when Louisa comes out with her news, we're definitely going to be there to support her as well. Ladies, it's been amazing. Yes, and like we do all of our shows, I know. So, we'll see y'all next week at 7 p.m. sharp. Until then, have an amazing weekend and amazing rest of the week. Cheers.
I know.
This is Herspiration Happy Hour.